right, welcome back to another episode of the JT Exchange podcast where we fill you in on all that is SU track and field. Little different environment today. We wanted to do a recap of the championship season. It's been 3 weeks, or about 3 weeks, since our landmark championship. We haven't really had the time to sit down, go over the recap. So we're going to do that now. Got a bunch of assistants with me today.
Yep.
To my left, working on my way down, we got Coach Weir, Coach Showstead, Coach Heuler. Coach Heuler, it's your first time on the podcast.
I know, I don't like it.
She doesn't like the camera, but I'm sure she's going to do fine.
I'm not made for the camera, I told you.
Oh, I think you're going to do just fine. If I haven't broke the camera yet, you're going to do great. Coach Weir, how you doing today?
Doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's been a crazy few weeks for you for travel we'll get into.
Yep.
Coach Showstead?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Not bad. Like floating head over there. Just kind of like see ya.
Can't see me.
So what we're going to get into today is we're going to basically run through a recap of the last few weeks, starting with the landmark championships, then our AARTFC Championships, and then national championships, and then we're going to wrap it up with a little preview of the outdoor meets. We do get underway this weekend. So we'll start off with landmark women. We'll start with. Overall, I think it was a very good day. You know, we only had a couple landmark all-conference recipients. I think the highlight was probably Kendall, as it has been all year. You know, she was the landmark champion in the pole vault. But we had a lot of PRs all across throughout the day.
Yeah.
Coach Weir, what about your group? Can you share any highlights from your group?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with how they performed. We've got a very young team, really only one upperclassman, I guess two. But they performed very well. You know, it's always a little nerve-wracking when you've got some underclassmen going in, especially freshmen. You know, how are they going to react to the environment? You know, how are they going to perform? Are they going to be ready from a mental standpoint? But I think they did a really, really good job of, locking in and preparing themselves, the couple weeks leading up to it, and we had some pretty decent performances. Got a couple girls on the podium, which was very nice.
Yeah, I remember the women's 4x2 was a pretty big surprise for us.
Yes, it was.
They might not want to hear that, but we were very pleased with how they ran. I think they ran probably almost 2-3 full seconds faster than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Which is great for them. Shift over to the throws. I know the women throwers had a very good weekend. You guys share some highlights on the throws?
Yeah, the women definitely outperformed themselves. They went above and beyond. I think their performances throughout the whole year were a little up and down. Same with the men, but the women really focused and showed up. I think in weight throw, we ended up going like 5, 7, and 11, but we were supposed to go like 7, 9, and 13. So they showed up, and same with shot put. We ended up going 6, 7, and 8, I believe. So I know Kira and Bella both ended up on the podium.
Yeah, definitely had some, but not even just in the scoring, but a lot of PRs across the board.
Oh, yeah, we had a bunch of PRs and season bests. I think almost everybody had at least a PR or a season best, which was really nice to see.
Yeah, which is, exactly how we draw it up, if you will. I know, and obviously Coach McGuire isn't here to represent the distance group, but we had a lot of strong showings in that group as well. Sophia Bostwick continued, her performances this year. And then women's 5K, I think Allison snuck in for a point, or is she 9th?
She got in for 8th.
Oh, so she did sneak in for a point, so that was awesome for her. She really came on strong at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think the women's team, they outperformed what they were supposed to do on paper, I think by a couple of points.
I think it was about 20 points from what we were projecting originally.
Yep. And then after entries, I think it ended up being like 2 or 3. But they almost moved up. I think it was into 5th. They definitely took a good shot at it. Mm-hmm. So I think coming outdoor, I think top 4 could definitely be a good goal for us. I definitely think we're a better outdoor team than we are indoor.
I agree with
that.
For
the women. But let's shift over to the men. I know, it's been a hot topic, especially the last podcast we did leading up to Landmark Champs, about how for the first time in a few years, we weren't favored to win on paper. Mm-hmm. I know prior to entries being released, I think we were down by, 13 to 18 points. I can't remember the exact number.
Yeah.
But then entries come out, and it definitely shrunk a little bit. I want to say original entries, were we down 11?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think original entries, we were down 11 on our side, but the website had it a little bit closer than that. And then maybe it was 2 come meet day. I think after scratches coming meet
come
day.
meet day, we were down by 2 points on paper.
Yeah, because there were some scratches throughout the week. Some surprising ones, some sprinters from some other programs had gotten hurt, which is unfortunate. And then the morning of, unfortunate event for Moravian, one of their top guys, wasn't able to make it. So that obviously was big in our favor. Mm-hmm. That's not something, we don't want to win because of something like that. So my first thought was, well, we better win by more than 16 points.
Yeah, yep.
It was a good day, though. I think we started off really strong with the men's high jumpers. Mm-hmm. They were only supposed to score, 4 or 5 points, and I think we ended up getting 18. And don't quote me on that. You'll have to go back and fact check me. But it was a good day. Charles did well, Rowan did well, and Liam Messina, first year, really stepped up big.
Yeah, he did.
I think he squeaked out a tie for 7th or 6th, maybe. I can't remember exactly. But great day for him. They really set the tone early, and then pole vault as well. Mm-hmm. I know Seth ended up winning the pole vault, but first year Hayden Durst did really, really well. He could have won it as well with some of his jumps, and that just set the tone for the first half of the day. Really, as you go throughout the day, the events where we're supposed to score points, like hurdles and the 60, we got a little help there. There's only 2 or 3 events where we really underscored what we were supposed to, I believe.
Yeah.
Sprints group, why don't you run us through? I know we had quite a few event champions in the sprints.
Yeah, I mean, our sprint and hurdle group has, over the last few years performed very, very well, and they continued that this year. Which was really good to see because, we lost a lot of those big hitters that we had last year with Elliot, Brandon, Ben. But the group of guys really stepped up. And, same kind of thing with the women's team. We've got a relatively young group of guys that really showed the future of Susquehanna sprinting and hurdling, which was really nice to see. We had quite a few event champions. We loaded a few guys up pretty heavy. Mason and Henry are 2 that really stick out to me. And they performed phenomenal, even though they were I think both of them were in 4 events. But they performed very, very well. I'm very happy to see with the development that they've had. It was a bit of an up and down year throughout the indoor season with some of them, dealing with a couple injuries and, just adjusting to our training style and the weight room and all of that. But we had a lot of really good performances. Mason scored. He was our top scorer, I think 21 points, 22 points, give or take. Henry had a phenomenal meet. He was leading the way for the last little bit going into the championship with the 200 and 400. Obviously Calder had a phenomenal day. A little bit lighter day just around him in the 60 and the 2, but he really stepped up and performed very well.
Yeah, you talked about, loading some people up.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Winslow, by far, had one of the hardest days, I think.
Yes, he did.
He stuck out to a lot of other coaches, too. I had a Juniata coach come up to me talking about how impressed he was with how many races Mason ran and how well he did in all of them.
Yeah, and we knew going into it we were going to have to load a couple people up. Mm-hmm. And we strategically put some people in some events, hoping they would sneak into finals, like Mason in the 60.
Yeah.
We knew he should make finals, but we also knew finals would be immediately after the 400.
Yeah, that was a rough turnaround for him.
Yeah, but he made finals like we needed him to do. He stepped up. He won the 400 in convincing fashion. He ran a perfectly executed race in there. And then I think it was 20 minutes later, he had the 60 final.
Yep.
And I think he ended up finishing sixth.
Sixth, yeah.
Yeah, with one person did drop out, and I think he might beat one of his teammates for 7th. I think that's what it was.
I believe so. I think
was it Owen?
I think it was Owen, yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, someone just walked in, interrupted us. But so Mason, definitely big things there. He ran the 2 as well, or we held him out of the 2?
We ended up holding him out of the 2 so we could try to perform as well as we could in the 4x4.
Yeah,
I thought that might be a little much for him.
As that came about, he was gassed. Him and Henry were both gassed, but they still got on the track. Slow heat ended up winning that race. Mm-hmm. I think they went 1-2 out of the slow heat.
Yeah.
But sprints did really, really well. Throw side, Justin, you want to run us through the men's throwers?
Yep. So we got a lot of first-year guys, so weight was a little bit up and down with the performances, which is kind of to be expected, first year, first landmark championships. But then they really responded well to that in weight, and I in shot put, and they scored more than they were projected to, and we ended up getting 2 first years in the finals, which was a huge upside. We're just looking to kind of carry that momentum going forwards into outdoor.
Yeah, I think that was exciting. I'm going to stop tapping the table. It goes through everyone's mind. But yeah, that's exciting for the future, of the throws group. I know Cole alluded that the championship that he wanted, but hopefully it just makes him hungry moving into outdoor.
Yeah.
On the distance side of things, Derek Blair continued to do Derek Blair things.
Yeah.
The 5K might have been one of the most exciting races of the day. It definitely was probably the loudest race of the day.
Oh, for sure.
And it was at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the women's 4x4 might have been the loudest with the fire alarm.
You're not wrong. And it wasn't Hayden. Hayden did not set off the fire alarm. But I think, Derek really stepped up well. Him and Cole from Moravian had a great battle in the 5K. Cole, they just tried to see who had the biggest kick, and luckily it went to Derek this time. Mm-hmm. And then in the 3K, he tried to double back and just didn't really have enough after that competitive 5K race. But other people, Vander Lockman, he stood out really well. He ended up scoring points, I think, in the mile and in the 800, which is great for him. Our DMR, I think they took 5th, maybe. But yeah, I think distance continues to improve, continues to grow, which is great for us. Jumps wise, we underperformed a little bit. It's crazy to say we underperformed. We have 5 people on the podium. We underscored a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, long and triple, we did just fine, just like we needed to. Little injury prone over there. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we get healthy going into outdoor. We do got to talk about Calder. He did win the Landmark Track Athlete of the Year, 60 hurdle champion. He did tie the Landmark Conference record in the 60 hurdles, which is held by a very, very talented individual.
Yes,
in Ozzie
he was.
Brown, and Ozzie's coaching at UMass Boston now, as the national record holder, indoor champion, reigning outdoor champion in the hurdles as well. But great day for him. He ended up coming back. He won the 200, which is something we had talked about, throughout the year. Kind of got him qualified. We knew he was fast. Worked out well that he got the outside lane because
yes, it did.
He's not great at running the tight turns.
No, he's not.
So that worked out well. Congratulations to him. We'll get into how he continued to do, but let's shift into regionals. Only had a couple qualifiers on the women's side for the AARTFC Championship. This year, we did travel down to New York City for the Armory, which is an amazing experience for the student athletes. Mm-hmm. It is a pain in the butt as a coach. These two can tell you because they had to park the vans.
It's fun.
Yeah, there's a reason you take buses. I tried to save a little bit of money. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your effort.
That's what we're here for.
But yeah, so on the women's side, we only had the 2 competitors, like we said. Kendall Sims in the pole vault, and Sophia Bostwick ran the 5K. Mm-hmm. We'll start with Sophia. She ran a really gutsy race. Afterward, I told her I've never been so proud of her and so mad at her at the same time.
Yeah.
The reason being is, she went out, she ran the race really, really well, kind of fell off in the middle, and she was on pace to run sub-18. School record was, I think, 17:59 and change.
Yeah.
So basically, she runs sub-18, she gets the school record. And with about 1,000 to go, we're getting on her like, yo, you got to push it, And she's like kind of listening, but not really. With 1 lap to go, she drops, I think, a 35. And she ran like an 18:0 something.
Yeah,
she missed the school record by like
there.
a second and a half. And if she would have just pushed 1 lap sooner, it definitely would have been hers. But I think she PR'd by over 30 seconds.
Yeah, she had a phenomenal performance.
So you can't really be too upset with her. It'll be her last indoor 5,000 meter. Hopefully she can come and go after the 5K outdoor. But she had a great indoor season. And then Kendall Sims, we've talked about her every single week. She broke the school record all but 1 weekend this year, and it was a weekend that she didn't compete. We rested her.
Yeah.
I think every other time she competed since January 17th, she broke the school record. All year I've been getting on Coach Goodspeed. You got to get her on a 7-step.
Yeah.
In high school, she only did a 5. And he's by the book. He wants to, we got to clean up the form first. We got to do this. And I said, you're right, but she might be able to make NCAAs. If you get her on that longer run and get her on bigger poles, like, this ain't my first rodeo. I've done this before. And he finally did it the week rolling into regionals. She got on a 7-step, which put her up 2 or 3 poles, and she had a day.
Yes, she did.
You know, it was pretty exciting. Going into the meet, her PR was 3:62. She had jumped that at Landmarks the week before, which is a school record again. And then at regionals, she jumped, I think it was
380.
Well, she went 382.
82,
382, yeah. But she had jumped 372 before that because the way the progression hit, I think it went 62, maybe, I don't remember exactly what the progression is, but she broke the school record again and then ended up jumping 382, which ended up putting her 22nd in the country.
Yeah.
So she put herself in the conversation at least, which is really exciting for her first year. She's improved by over almost a full foot since, you know, she came from high school, which is awesome. She's going to continue to have, you know, a great career, hopefully stays healthy. I told you not to do it. Now I'm over here knocking on the table. But great year for her. Like I said, finished the year 22nd in the country. And then the men, we had a smaller group than normal. We definitely focused on the relays. So why don't you run me through the 4x2 to start with?
You know, that was, we had some different personnel than we had run the rest of the year. We changed the order up a little bit, trying to get out of some of that traffic, because that's one of those events that a lot of coaches, you know, are a little scared of, because there can be a lot of bumping shoulders and a lot happening when you're running at those speeds and doing exchange. So we wanted to try to mix up our personnel and, you know, get out in front of everything. And, you know, they performed very, very well. I say that, and almost all of them stumbled a little bit, you know, not really used to running on bank tracks. But they performed very, very well. I think it was definitely their best time of the season by probably almost a second or so. So they really stepped up at the end of the meet and, you know, kind of, again, showed what that group has and what the success that they're going to continue to have.
Yeah, I think the 4x2 is my least favorite event in track and field. You get a bunch of big meathead sprinters trying to run as fast as they can and hand off at the same time, and you get bumping into each other. It's really dangerous. Strategy worked out at first. Unfortunately, Henry, you know, hamstring flared up in the middle of his 200, and then, you know, the U of R kids all over him, bumping into him the entire race, which is annoying to say the least.
Yes.
But they got through it. They finished, like you said, they missed the school record by 0.3 of a second, you know, with a pretty sloppy race. And they're all back next year also.
Yes.
So that's exciting for them. 4x4, kind of a little bit of the same. Ran a different group, but I don't know. Why don't you run me through the 4x4?
I mean, they definitely had a much better performance than we had at conference. You know, a lot of those guys were pretty gassed going into the conference 4x4, and underperformed a little bit for what I think that group is capable of. But then they came back at regionals and really stepped up. They ran, I think, 4 seconds faster. They ran a 3:21.85. And we, again, mixed up the relay there. We put Calder in as our anchor, and he performed very, very well for not being really a 400 guy, especially indoor. But they really stepped up and, you know, again, kind of showed what that group has and the talent that group has, and hopefully this continued success that they're going to have over the next couple years.
Yeah, 3 or 4 of them, that was their second event of the day. At the AARTFC Championship, they do 4x4 the end of day 1.
Yeah.
So Calder had done the 60 hurdle trials. Both Henry and Mason had also competed in the DMR earlier that day. And let's run through that. So DMR was interesting. We had to make a few pivots going into it. All year I kind of knew. I was like, we have a team that could break the school record. Yeah. And it's a school record that was set back in 1988 or 89. It's a very, you know, big-time school record from back in the JT day. And I kept asking McGuire, when are we going to run this? When are we going to run this? And we never really got an opportunity to run a fast time. Yeah. So we wild-carded the DMR in, and then, you know, our 800 leg decided he wasn't going to be able to make it to the meet. Well, you know what? Mason ran a 2:01 in his first ever indoor 800. So you know what, Mason? You're going to be the 800 leg, and Henry, you're only going to be about a half a second slower than Mason. So you know what? We're going to put you in. Yep. So we had Derek Blair run the mile. Evander opened it up with the 1200. We knew exactly what everybody had to hit, and we came through. We were doing great, you know. And Evander was very close. Mason, I think, split a 158. Yeah. Henry was like a 50 point something. And then Derek gets the baton going into the mile, and he's getting out well. He's doing well. He's hitting his splits, and then all of a sudden he just kind of settles into second.
Yeah.
And McGuire's yelling at him from the outside of the track, like, you got to go around. Like, you can't run to win. Like, you have to run for time, because we were in the slow heat. And I guess Derek couldn't really hear him, and I'm on the infield yelling at him, and he finally woke up with 2 laps to go and realized, oh, crap, I got to go. Because he probably had a 3 or 4 second buffer that he had.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
And he lost it going into, so with 400 meters left, he really turned it on. I think his last 4 was like a 62. I know his last lap was a 30.
I think a 30, yeah.
A 30, which is absurd, coming off. Well, it's not that absurd, I guess, with the way people are running these days. But they got the school record. Not by much. What was it, 0.4?
I think just about there, yeah.
0.4 tenths of a second.
Very close.
But, yeah, they got the school record, so really, really happy for them. Yeah, it was good. Great performance by them. We had one thrower go to regionals. If you don't count Rowan, we'll get into Rowan in a minute. But Cole's last indoor meet. What can you guys say about it?
Yeah, I mean, first, like, just across, like, the whole season, like, consistency-wise, he's improved, like, tremendously. So going into it, kind of like, because this is where he started his first, like, regional championship, was actually at the Armory 4 years ago. So our goals were kind of just to clean up a little bit of technical stuff and then get a higher placement than previously and just have fun while we're doing it. And he ended up doing that. I think he got 10th the first time, then 9th this time. Missed out on 8th place and scoring a point by like a couple centimeters, so that was a little disappointing.
I think it was exactly 2 centimeters.
Yeah,
right?
so something like that. But, I mean, he did overall very well, I think.
Yeah, and then another thrower, I guess you could count as Rowan. Rowan started the heptathlon. He ended up having a groin injury on day 2.
Yeah.
And then other people we had was, obviously Calder in the 60 hurdles. Carter, he made finals in the 60 hurdles as well. Dom in the 60. And who am I missing? Anybody? I think that's it.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, and if we're missing you, I'm sorry. I apologize. I told them I'm winging this. There's nothing on this screen. It's black. But yeah, so overall, good day. It was nice to get home. New York City stresses me out. Don't like being there. I live in the country-ish for a reason. But yeah, so regionals is over. We knew Calder was going to get into the national championship. We had to wait on Kendall. Unfortunately, she didn't get in. And then it's been a crazy few weeks, like I said. For those that are watching at home, Landmark Championships was the first day of spring break. So immediately following that, 95% of our team went home. We did not get a spring break. We were stuck here working with those that were going to regionals. And then as the kids come back from spring break, now we have to juggle and figure out, who's going to go to nationals. Very fortunate for myself that we have Coach Weir here. He was able to, take Calder down to Alabama, helped me and my family a lot. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it.
Yeah, and we don't need to get into nationals too much. It definitely wasn't a performance that we wanted. I know Calder isn't thrilled with it, and I understand. It was just a rough race. Had a rough start. Hopefully he still had a good experience. I know you guys went out to some good meals. He got to go to Civil Rights Museum with his mom, which is a great experience. But indoors over.
Yep.
All right, so now we get to shift gears quickly and roll right into outdoor. First week, we are going to head down to Lebanon Valley College. It is a small meet. I think they're calling it their mini meet. They just resurfaced their track this summer, and we're going to go down there and knock some rust off. A little different meet than we're used to. Event selection's definitely smaller. We're not really sure what to expect with the facilities. Like I said, it was just redone. I've never been there. But we got a lot of opportunity for people to compete that won't get that opportunity later on in the year. All of our people that competed at regionals and nationals are taking some time off. So we'll quickly run a little preview for this weekend, and then I'll go through the rest of the meets. But a lot of throwers are going this weekend.
Yeah.
Specifically javelin. These people have been training. We got 6 athletes that have just been training javelin since September, and they got to be hungry to get outside.
As somebody who's more of an outdoor gal myself, I'm very excited for them, especially because javelin was my best event. So I think they're going to do very well. The weather, thankfully right now shifted in our favor. So hopefully it stays that way with the next few days leading into it.
Don't blink, because it could change that quickly.
I realize Pennsylvania weather is just like Western New York weather.
It's just less snow. That's all the difference.
But these kids are so hungry to get out there and throw. All of them have been bugging me all of indoor. When are we going to travel? When are we going to travel? How many meets can we go to this year? So for them to find out that all of them get to throw in the first meet of the season, they're really ready to get after it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them. She spoke about the weather shift. Originally, it was supposed to be 50 degrees, and last I checked, it was up to like 63.
Yeah.
The next week, JT is not looking very nice, which is unfortunate because we have a very good javelin runway. But we also got some new events, hammer, discus, as we shift into outdoor. We've got a lot of particularly freshman men in the discus. Justin, can you touch on them at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all developing like pretty well over the past like week and a half or so. Obviously, like it's a change going from the 1.6 to the 2K, but I mean, I'm expecting for like good performances. Same thing with the hammer, especially since they're all like young guys. Our upperclassmen have been doing really well with that too, men's and women's.
Yeah, it's time to get outside and get after it. You know, the outdoor season in college is so short. Especially unpredictable with the weather. That might have some exciting changes in the sprints group, hurdles group as well. We'll see. We're not really going to show our cards for that yet, but we might be seeing some new 400 hurdle runners. It's always tough outdoor because you can't really perform that well when it's under 60 degrees.
Yeah.
You can do your best and you can work on technique, but the performances for a lot of the events, specifically sprints, jumps, hurdles, don't really start coming until the track temperature gets up to 80, 85 when the rubber starts pushing back.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you know, we get some nice weather. Future meets that we'll have, I mentioned we open up this weekend at Lebanon Valley College. The following week, we have the Jim Taylor Duels. That is an event that we started last year in honor of Jim Taylor. It is a 10-way or 10-team head-to-head duel championship. We give out trophies to the top men's and women's team, as well as the Jim Taylor Memorial 4x4, which the top men's and women's team will also receive trophies for that. Currently, the weather's not looking great for that. That will get started on Friday. I think it's the 27th, 28th, whatever Friday is. The last Friday in March is when we'll do hammer, shot put the first day. And then the rest of them will be held on Saturday. We are hosting an alumni event on Saturday after the meet at Bots. So if you are interested, please check out our Instagram page. You'll see there's a sign-up sheet there. Coach Showstead has been fortunate to put all that together. Might be part of his graduate project, so the more people we can get, the better. After that, it gets a little interesting. Easter weekend is early again, which always throws a wrench in the college schedule. So we'll split some people throughout the week. York has a meet on Wednesday, which we tend to take a lot of distance runners for the 5K. People always surprisingly do well there. It's a pretty fast track. I wish they hosted more meets when it was warm out.
Yeah.
It's not great for throws. They don't have lights. Sectors intersect. Like it just isn't great. Usually they don't finish. So throwers probably won't do much there, but we'll take some sprinters, a few people, whoever can go, because it is during the day on a Wednesday. Then we do have an option that weekend to go to Ursinus. They're hosting a meet, and the reason that's on our schedule is they are the host for the regional championships this year, so we like to get there and see. But small groups for both. It is Easter weekend. I know a lot of kids like to go home. It will be my son's 3rd birthday, so I'm not sure what I'm going to be allowed to do, but we'll figure that out. And then we transition the next week. We host our multi, which is a big event.
Yep.
I already know on the list we're going to have D2, D3 All-Americans that will be here, like indoor All-Americans that will be here, multiple national qualifiers. I think there's some post-collegiate athletes that are still competing at a very, very high level that are hoping to come. So that'll be Thursday, Friday. I think it's the 9th and the 10th. And then we'll send as many people as we can up to Bucknell on Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th. They do their distance carnival on the 11th, and then most of the track events are Sunday. We might try to find some alternative stuff for some throwers if needed. Hopefully people do well in the first 2 weeks, so we don't have to do that. Following week, Moravian, that's always a great meet for us. Usually the weather tends to be pretty nice. Track's fast. Pits are good.
Yep.
We perform well there. Again, same thing. We might have to get creative for some throwers to get them. A lot of the meets only offer 3 throwers each, or they cap it at a certain amount of flights. And a lot of teams got a lot of throwers these days. And then after Moravian, the option is Juniata. So Juniata is our tune-up meet. A lot of our athletes that don't get a chance to travel should have the opportunity to travel to Juniata that week to either hopefully get into conferences or have one last race for the year. Then we go back to Juniata the following week for landmarks the first weekend in May. So excited to go there. The whole team will travel. We got hotels out there. We're not staying at the lake like we did last time.
Thankfully.
That was before you guys. We stayed at a lake resort, and it was like cabins, and let's just say our kids don't like the country like I do.
No, they don't.
So Landmark Championship the first weekend in May, and then most of our kids will be done. There's a couple last chance meets that we might go to. I know Ithaca's going to be hosting one this year. They open in their new facility. Williams does that Fire Fest or that fire meet. We might take some people there. It's just so far away for us.
Yes,
It always is a good meet, though.
It is, correct. Yeah, it is a really, really good meet. And then I think there's one or two others that might be an option. I think Lockhaven has a Friday night meet one of those days. And then regionals, like I said, is at Ursinus. And hopefully we get some people to go to Wisconsin. Wisconsin Lacrosse is the outdoor host this year, so hopefully we can get a couple vans. A small little bus would be nice.
Yep.
What meets are you guys all most excited for? Which meet in particular are you most excited for, Coach Weir?
Like you mentioned, Moravian, we generally perform very well at Moravian. Obviously, they're a big competitor in the conference for us, and they generally have some pretty good competition with their program specifically, and they have some other good schools there. But over the last few years, we've performed very well there. It's a fast track, like you said, good pits. So I think that one is probably one of the biggest meets that I'm looking forward to in our regular season.
Justin?
There's a couple. I mean, obviously, like the opener, especially for like our Jav kids, because they've been antsy to get out there, and historically, like they've all done like pretty well. Like the first chance they get to compete, Moravian, like Coach Weir just mentioned, and then Landmark Championships, of course, just because the energy.
All right.
Yeah, you can't forget that one.
Coach Heuler, this will be your first outdoor championship or outdoor season outside of Western New York.
I know. Very excited for it.
A little further south.
Especially as my first year as a coach.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the first meet just to see, like he's mentioned, the JAV specialists have been working all indoor, haven't got a chance to compete, so this is their first time to get on the runway and let it rip. And then just watching all of the other freshmen and the upperclassmen perform all indoor, I'm excited to see how they perform in shot, disc, and hammered.
Yeah, I think mine would be the weekend of the 9th through the 12th. I love our multi. As I've mentioned many times, I'm a multi guy. We have a few less multis this year. We're prioritizing just, their individual events since it's not in our conference. But the multi that Thursday, Friday, and then I'm actually excited to send some people to Bucknell this year. I want to see our relay, how they stack up against some of those D1 schools. I want to see how Kendall vaults. I'm curious, are they going to get let her into the invite competition? So I'm excited to see them, and I guess, like you all said, champs is the one. Like this would be a big champs for us. So hopefully we can have a healthy year and keep it rolling throughout the year. But yeah, I guess. Man, I can't believe it's outdoor already.
Yeah, it comes fast.
Yeah. Coach Heuler, you mentioned this is your first year coaching. I'll put you on the hot stand real quick.
Sure.
What's your most favorite part of coaching so far?
So far, it's seeing their faces when they progress and when something clicks and they do well. When you're an athlete and you find your own successes, it's exciting, but as a coach, when you're able to help somebody find that success, it's so fulfilling, and the satisfaction I get from watching these kids get super excited. And as a certified teacher, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, you watch a kid learn how to throw a ball for the same time, watch a kid throw a jab correctly. Like, the light up on their faces, you can't find that anywhere else.
All right. Now, on the opposite side, what's the least favorite part of coaching that you found so far?
Not to call anyone out, but it's the attitudes. They're all college kids, so at this point they're all adults and they're finding their place in the world, and they're gaining some confidence. So
do I have to pick up my phone and give Eddie a call and see if you ever had an attitude?
oh, I can guarantee you he will say yes. I was called an angry elf, so I definitely had some passion in me.
I think it's just because you really like Christmas. That's really what it was.
Christmas isn't even my favorite holiday.
All right. Coach Showstead, what event are you most excited for this outdoor season?
I got to pick one. Honestly, probably hammer throw. A lot of our first years started picking up the weight really well, so I'm just kind of looking forward to see what happens with that over the course of the season.
And Coach Weir, what restaurant are you most excited to eat at throughout the year? Or what meal are you most excited for? Because we kind of get the same thing most of the places we go.
Yeah.
You could include Nationals.
I mean, I'm going to have to say Nationals because we always go to a pretty nice restaurant. We'll find something nice, normally a nice steak.
Well, I've never been to La Crosse, so I don't got any things on my list, but I'm usually pretty good at finding some good places. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me today. It's been a pretty long one. We went 35 minutes, but hope you guys all enjoyed this. This has been the JT Exchange Podcast. Once again, thank you guys for joining me.
Of course.
And talk to you guys next time. Like and subscribe.